Caution, the Mark Gungor Show contains adult content intended for an adult audience. And, besides that, he's really weird. Welcome to the Mark Gungor Show with international marriage speaker and author of Laugh Your Way to a Better Marriage, Mark Gungor. This is your source for practical, down-to-earth marriage advice without all the over-spiritualization or romantic nonsense. And now the host of the Mark Gungor Show, Mark Gungor.
Goes wild with delirious joy. They've joined the Mark Gungor Show, the show that deals with all things concerning marriage. I am, of course, your host, the one, the only Mark Gungor. Joining me, as always, the very lovely and charming, though she insults me continually, Diane Brierly.
Goes two ways, my friend.
I never insult anybody.
Goes two ways.
And, of course, the amazing Philip James Gungor. The show's engineered, as always, by the very talented but eerily creepy Timothy Robert Ray, engineer extraordinaire, pushing buttons, twisting knobs, and trying to stay awake in the back room. Because he listens to this ignorantly, totally boring show. This is the show that handles your marital challenges, relational conundrums, and dating dilemmas that you can email to us at askAsk@markgungor.com. A few shows ago, I was trying to remember that.
Yeah, I know. You couldn't remember it.
It was like my mind would go blank. I'm starting to lose it.
You said it 15,000 times.
I know. How can all of a sudden your mind goes blank?
It's like, what is that?
Relational challenges, marital conundrums.
No,
marital conundrums. See, no. I can't even say it. You got an autopilot. That's how you remember it.
It's like my phone number. I only know it by like muscle memory sometimes when
really?
I have to punch things in, like people's numbers and things.
Marital challenges, relational conundrums, dating dilemmas. You can't think it. You just got to say it. Yeah. As soon as you try to think, I can't remember what it is. Isn't that odd?
Yeah.
Very odd. Yeah. Very odd man. What do you got there, sunshine?
Okay, 4 things you cannot expect your spouse to do for you. Number 1, we cannot expect our spouse.
I got a longer list than that.
I know. But we'll go with these 4, okay, just for today. We cannot expect our spouse to be just like our mom and dad. When we get married, we both come to the table with different childhood experiences. These experiences form our expectations and general assumptions. He or she might have some similar attributes, but he or she is not our parent. If we maintain this expectation, we're only setting ourselves up for disappointments, arguments, and fractured relationships with in-laws.
So do you think people really do that? They expect their spouse to be like their mom and dad?
I think so. I think that's what they think.
See, my mom and dad were.
Yeah.
So the good thing about having totally crazy parents.
You don't expect that.
You're kind of hoping. Like, for example, my goal with Phil is I'll be as weird as I possibly can be, and then he'll rebel and become normal. There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
But little things like my dad was the handyman fix-it. And so you
that's
just
what Phil
assume.
thinks.
No, not you. Oh, not you by any stretch of the imagination. But,
That's what my daughter thinks. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but you then, like, my dad can fix anything.
Okay.
And not that I kind of thought that all men could do that. Apparently not. Apparently not.
Get back, witch!
Number 2, we can expect to treat our spouse like a child. This may sound crazy to some of you, but this is more common than you think.
Extremely common. Extremely common. Especially when you are surrounded by children.
Yes.
You want to really jack it up, have your wife be a kindergarten teacher.
Yeah.
That's what my wife did.
Yes.
And she would come home and she would start talking to me exactly like I was 5 years old. And I'd have to go, hey!
Yes.
I'm not one of your kindergarten teachers. And also she'd catch it and she starts laughing. Saying, I'm sorry. Yeah. But I mean, they're just in this mode.
Yeah.
You're trying to spell everything out for these little chubby-faced
it's just your
monsters.
Mode of operation.
But if you have small children, constantly deal with it, you turn around and you start treating your husband the same way and it becomes a problem. So.
Yeah. Or men who treat their wives like children, too. It goes both ways. Number 3, we can't expect our spouse to read our mind. This is a big one.
Well, that's a good one when you don't have
a mind.
And there's nothing to read. It's a short read or it's a blank. It's a blank sheet of paper. Yes. But no,
you
can't expect your spouse.
Communicate with words.
Yeah, you've got to say what you feel. And I've written about this in my book. The Beatitudes of Marriage, which you should all go buy 30 copies immediately, just because I want you to. But in here, I talk about you need to be clear. Mm-hmm. And what happens if you're not clear. Here's the thing. People who are very emotive, here's the chapter. People who are very emotive always think they're being clear because they feel things so deeply. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a big deal.
Oh, yeah. And how can someone possibly not pick up on this?
How could you not tell? And usually it's the wife, but not always. I'm the emotive one in our marriage, and I feel things. I think, how could she not know? Because she doesn't know. Just because you sigh and flip your hair. Of course, I don't have it here. Mm-hmm. But I mean, just whatever, and you think you're being clear. That's not being clear, And even if your closest friend can see it, doesn't mean your spouse can see it. So you need to be clear. All right, that's good.
And the last one, we can't expect our spouse to be our reason for living. A spouse cannot fulfill that purpose. Only God can.
Yeah, now that one's creepy. Mm-hmm. I think it's creepy. Mm-hmm. And if you actually think that they think in terms of suicide. Yeah. If they ever lose their spouse, because they're my whole reason for living.
Yeah. That's a little off.
Yeah, that's really creepy. No one should ever be in that place in your life. That's really an idol.
Or the thing that makes you happy, like you have to have this, and that's the person that makes you happy.
4 things you can't expect your spouse to do. The first one, okay. Second one, for sure. Third one, definitely. The fourth one, I think that's just very uncommon. I don't know. They're writing this is common. I don't know. I don't know anybody who thinks this way, to be honest with you. On rare occasion, you might run across, but I'm just saying off the top of my head, it's very atypical that my spouse is the reason.
The other three are much more common.
Oh, yeah. I mean, most people, that's...
Information Romeo and Juliet could have used a while back.
Right. Right.
A lot of people are more thinking, Lord, if I just hold the pillow over his head just a little longer, So I don't think they think in terms, I can't go on if my spouse isn't there.
I think that's a little unbalanced.
Some might think more the other direction.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord, what freedom I'd have in my life. He's got to go sometime, Lord. Take him now. So anyway. All right, we'll be back with your emails right after this incredible break.
Download your free Mark Gungor app today to see all of the latest from the world of Mark Gungor.
Hi, Mark Gungor here talking to you about Transition One, our one-year transition program here in Green Bay, Wisconsin, that is designed to help young people, young Christian people. And I want to stress that this isn't a program for juvenile delinquents. Mm-hmm. You got a kid who's a mess. Man, don't send them to us. I'm talking about devout Christian kids. They finish high school, and before they go into college, they take a one-year program. There's several of these around the country. We have one here in the Mark Gungor world called Transition One. We launched this last year, and it's been fabulous. I mean, it's really wonderful, and these kids have been dramatically affected by this in a wonderful way. We teach them about life. We focus on how to live, how to make decisions, how to plan, how to date, how to make choices for spouses, how to do all these things. And we show them how to serve, and we give them service opportunities and teach them to put God first in their lives. The last 3 months of the program, they go on a missions trip, not one of these, 7-day. And God bless those who do that. I mean, I still think they're great, but those are more of a vacation. When you go on a real mission trip and you're there for months, you really learn stuff, and it really changes you, and you really get to understand, and really, if nothing else, to appreciate what you have here. Believe it or not, there's places in the world that they don't have Wi-Fi in every corner of your world. Life is different. There's not a McDonald's on every corner. There's not, 3,000 television channels. There's places where, quite frankly, none of that stuff exists, and you haven't a chance to really see these kids grow and mature. When they come back, I'm telling them their lives will be changed forever. And then let them go on and pursue their lives. Jesus taught us, if you will seek first my kingdom, I'll add all these things to you. You parents who just try to get your kids to go get these things right away, as that's the top priority, you're making in my opinion, a terrible mistake. Slow down. Take a year. Put God first in the lives of your children. Encourage them to do so. Go check out our website. We'll tell you all about our program, transition1.org. That's transition1.org.
She got long blonde hair and a sweet disposition. You ought to see what she does in the kitchen. Grits and gravy, chicken too. My baby even cooks me barbecue. cute. I love my baby. Yeah, I love my baby. Yeah, I love my baby. And my baby loves me.
The music of Jimmy Brecher. I love Jimmy. I'm going to be doing a gig with him. I don't know when the show will air, but June 10th and 11th, assuming I can. I think our schedule's clear. We're doing a series of concerts in the where's he from? Kansas City area, and at some prisons, and ministering to the prison inmates. So we're looking forward to that. Check out his music, jimmybrecher.com.
Hopefully they let you out.
Or yeah,
when you're done.
That's the challenge.
Will
that man? They may not let him out. All right, what do you got there?
Okay, it's a young man writing. He says, I've heard from at least 5 different couples, including my parents, in the middle of an argument with their significant other, tell me not to get married so as to avoid all the hassle. My question is, should I take their advice and not get married? I'm a 23-year-old Christian man who is looking forward to a family, but seeing different fights between couples is starting to make me think I should not. Any advice on what I should do or say would be appreciated.
Well, of course. If your desire is to get married and have a family, you should get married and have a family. Your only alternative is not to get married and stay single, which the Apostle Paul would applaud you. Do couples argue? Of course they argue. So what? An argument is not the end of the world. Good grief. You take away the arguments in my life with everybody, I've got a really lonely life. My life might be
There would be very few words exchanged in this 24-hour span.
What is this? We have an argument. Don't get married. I mean, your parents are nitwits. Anybody who tells you that is a Nimrod. A Nimrod. I was just up in, where was that?
The UP.
Watersmeet, Michigan, up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
MEAT?
MEET. Oh. I think that it was like where the waters meet. They were really low on creativity for naming the city.
Not MEAT. Water meat. What kind of meat's that? I'll take some of that meat. So anyway, the high school mascots, they had, the Warriors or the
Tigers or the Ravens,
the dancing princesses or whatever. Nowadays, all this political correctness. But anyway, their mascot. Mine's not working today. Are the Nimrods?
Yes, which I thought was very funny.
So
who came up with that?
You come into town and says, "Welcome to the home of the Nimrods," and we're going, "What? Who?"
Nimrods?
Can you imagine? You have the schools going, "Hey, you Nimrods!" Oh my, the chance of because what is that? So we had
that
to
just sets them up for it.
Oh,
come
you
on!
Think? I mean,
that
come on!
Sets them up for it.
Yes, of all the things that torment these poor kids, that's abuse. That's abuse.
I thought it was bad that I was a penguin.
Bad enough. You were the Penguins.
We were
you
the
could
Penguins.
abuse that, but when you're the Nimrods,
that's worse.
So we look it up, and a Nimrod. The first definition of a Nimrod is a skilled hunter.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure that's what they meant.
Oh, I'm sure
because they're up there. They're
in the North
Woods. Everybody's got guns. Everybody shoots. They shoot things and eat them without even cooking them. They just eat them.
That's why they call it waters meat.
Because of the meat they have there. So I'm sure that's what they meant.
Yeah.
Of course, the second definition of a Nimrod is a complete moron.
Yeah, which is the more common.
Which is really more common, even though the first one is the first definition you see in the dictionary. Anyway, the Nimrods.
I think they could make a change there. A little vote.
Time to change that, evolve with the times,
Well, welcome to the home of the Nimrods.
I thought that was very funny.
Shocker. Anyway, your parents and whoever tells you this information are Nimrods, not skilled hunters, but morons. Don't listen to them. It's fine. Will you have arguments? Of course you'll have arguments. So what? Unless you bury yourself in a bunker somewhere beneath the dirt, and then you start going crazy and have arguments with inanimate objects like
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks in that, what was that movie? Shipwrecked or whatever? Maroon? What was it called?
What was the name of that?
Castaway.
Thank you. Shipwrecked Maroon.
That's what he was. And he's talking to the stupid volleyball named Wilson. So even then he'd have arguments with Wilson. So you're going to argue with everybody. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine. Enjoy life. Find a pretty girl. Have lots of babies.
It's like your ox poo message.
That's right. The Bible says where there is no ox, the stall is clean. But great strength comes from the ox. People want the benefit of the ox, but they get upset because there's poo. Of course there's poo. You're going to have animals. There's poo. Life is full of poo. Anybody who that's like a farmer saying, man, whatever you do, don't ever get farming because there's poo everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, but if you want the benefit of being a farmer and that lifestyle and the money that comes from it, to a real farmer, they don't think anything of the poo.
Well, then he can probably...
Your dad, he lives in this world. Cameraman over here.
Yeah.
And, man, there's poo everywhere. To them, it's the smell of money.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously. To me, it's the smell of poo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm not used to it. But they don't have a problem with it. They just, you just clean it up, you move on. They're going to poo again the next day. You clean it up, you move on. In fact, they take that poo. And you know what they do with all that poo? They put it on the fields. Mm-hmm. They fertilize it so we can grow corn and send it to all you listening to us around the world. It's all poo-infused food.
Oh, no, that's just nasty.
That's exactly what it is.
I know, but...
Because it's fertilizer. Even poo, as disgusting as poo is, brings life. Don't be afraid of the poo. Embrace the poo. Poo for you.
Oh my
This poo's for you.
Oh my God.
Find some sponsors.
We can find some sponsors.
I have no idea how this evolved to this point.
This portion of the Mark Gungor is brought to you by Big Paws of Poo. So don't get freaked out in your lives when things don't go perfect and there's poo in your life. Especially if you're married, you're going to have poo everywhere. Just keep your pooper scooper with you. Clean it up and move on. There's great benefit from it. You don't want to live in a poo-free life. The only way you live in a poo-free life is you get away from life. You know, and it's true. It's a sign of life. When we were in Africa, you go to Africa, you go on a safari. You know what they look for? You know what they're looking for?
Yeah.
Poo! All kinds of poo.
Yeah.
And if you're looking for elephants, you're looking for humongous chunks of poo. And they see this poo, and they get all excited. And they see lion poo, and everybody's just thrilled. Woohoo! There's poo! And because if you follow the poo,
You find the elephant.
you find the elephant or the lion or the zebra or whatever it is, because it's a sign of life. Poo is a sign of life. Any moron who tells you to avoid life because you don't want the poo is a Nimrod. We will take a break. We'll be back with more emails. More enlightening after this.
Have a marriage dilemma? Email your questions to ask@markgungor.com, and Mark can answer them during one of our shows.
So you call up the preacher.
We're back on the Mark Gungor Show, talking about love, marriage, and relationships, talking about poo. This poo's for you. Should be a new slogan for this show.
It's very fitting.
Our cameraman here is talking
Really?
about mascots.
Really? You're going to do this?
What you just told us was hilarious.
Yeah, okay.
What was the name of the city?
Hooker, Kansas.
Hooker, Kansas. Bad enough. But this is the mascots are the horny toads.
You,
Now, you would think someone could think that through. Maybe we shouldn't call them that. First of all, I wouldn't call them that. I don't care what the name of the city was.
right.
Who says this should be our mascot? Can you imagine, again, the abuse from other teams? But, oh, my goodness, so funny. All right, what do you got?
All I know is that you better never chastise me for anything that I say on this show again after you just shared that.
Quiet woman.
Okay.
Quiet woman.
It's a wife writing. She
All right.
says, my husband is depressed. We have 4 kids, so life has never been easy. I stay home. He works. It's always been hectic and a struggle financially. But something has changed.
How many kids?
4.
Well, yeah, life's going to be hectic. And
Yes.
Yeah, that's life.
Now, she says he seems so hopeless most days now. Everything makes him cry. His passion for cooking isn't what it was, so apparently he was quite the cook. He can't seem to keep a job. Most of all, he feels like a failure. I have my degree in social work and have worked with people who have depression and anxiety, but it's different when it's your family. I try to encourage him to get help. He has been going to see someone, but I'm not sure they get how hard of a time he's having. I try to remind him on his bad days when everything seems hopeless to him that that's not how he feels on his good days. I'm at a loss for words with him. I don't know what to do or how to get past this. I've considered taking a full-time job and letting him stay home, but I think that might make it worse. I'm so lost, she says.
I appreciate your writing, but it's just really not the kind of question for a guy you don't know on a show or through an email. Obviously, your situation is very serious, and you take it very seriously. And I would connect with your... Are they Christians? We don't know. I would say if you're not, you ought to try becoming a Christian. Might do a lot for his depression. Find a church, find a family, find people to help you do life together. He's very sick. I know what it's like. to have a spouse who's very, very sick, even unto death. And it's hard and it's exhausting, and I understand that. But that's why we say for better, for worse, in sickness and in health. So you need to hang in there with him and get him the help he needs. And if he's not getting the help that he needs, you need to find other ways of getting help. So again, I don't know him. I'm not going to make a diagnosis from an email, but just to say that he needs some help and you need support. I mean, that's the beauty of going to church. People say, a lot of people, they want the support of church, but they don't want to bother to go to church. People will describe this kind of thing, and what they need is support and caring and being surrounded, but they don't do anything to get it. If you don't have it, you think maybe your family, but a lot of people are so fractured from their own families they don't have it. That's the beauty of going to church. You want to make a big difference in your life, all you people, listen to me. Go to church. And not one of these people go to church once, feel really good, and next week say, well, gee, I went last week, and 2 weeks later, well, I was just there 2 weeks ago, and 3 weeks later, well, just 3, and 4 weeks later, well, yeah, I was there last month, and wait till your life sucks again, and then I'm going to go to church, and people do this all the time. In fact, they'll say, oh, man, I just needed to come to church. It's been a while. What kind of way is that to live your life? Get involved and so that you can connect with people and be part of a family. And then when your life is going through hell, you're not going alone. And there's people there who are surrounding you and supporting you and caring for you and trying to help you go through it. My best advice to you is to connect with your church or a church if you don't have one. Beyond that, just, hang in there. It's a difficult thing, but man, don't try to do life by yourself. That's why you don't want to do life by yourself. People, you need to connect with people. You need to build a support structure around you. All you people getting married. See, here's the thing. People get married and think this is going to be great. We're never going to have any problems because they're delusional. Everybody thinks this is going to be perfect.
All you need is love. That's what the Beatles said.
All you need is love. La, 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 la. So the Beatles said, and then they broke up. So apparently they didn't have enough love. So, life is hard when you get married and everything's exciting. Oh, it's great. We just need each other. No, you don't just need each other. That's the dumbest thing in the world. The first thing you need to think when you get married is, oh, great. We got married. We have each other. Now let's find people to do life with. Find a church. Find a community. Get involved so that you have a support structure for when your life stinks. And I promise you, at some point, your life is going to stink. Something's going to happen. Somebody's going to lose a job. Someone's going to, get sick, either mentally or physically, emotionally, have troubles. At some point, you're going to have a bunch of babies and you're going to need help. It's just, life was never designed to be two people on an island. Again, discussed in my book, The Beatitudes. Buy 5 copies today.
It's the Pooh Beatitudes show.
You know what? This is a great book, though.
It is.
It really is.
Covers a lot of...
Well, the cover is nice. But it's simple. Guys like it because there's pictures. And it's very short. But you're talking about just basics on life. Don't try to live by yourself. So, better to have friends and a support structure around you so that when you have trouble, it's there for you, than to be like these people who are already in trouble and now they got to go try and find a support structure. But that's still not my best advice for you. But goodness, all you people and all you young couples and stuff like that, man, get out there, get involved. If you think in your delusional, Hollywood deceived concept that once you get married, we'll just have each other, and that's all there is. You're just nuts. You are a Nimrod.
And not a skilled hunter.
But a moron. Get connected with people who can help you do life. That's the power of church. Church isn't about just some obligatory, I got to go once a week. How horrible is that for you to give God an hour of your week? This is a positive thing for you. It'll build strength in your life and connect with people who can help you do life. If you try to do life by yourself, you're going to be in trouble. Like I say in my book, if it's just you and your husband on an island all by yourselves, at some point you'll turn into cannibals and you'll start to eat each other. Don't be cannibals. Get off the island. Get connected with people. I don't know why, there's just, in Western culture, we're so bizarre. The more we grow in Western culture, the less connected we get with people.
Yes, I know.
We live there's people who live in cities where there's millions of people who live in the city and they're all lonely.
They don't.
All 8 million of them are lonely because they don't know how to connect with people anymore. Go to church, all right? We'll be back right after this break.
Caution, The Mark Gungor Show contains adult content intended for an adult audience.
Feeling me down.
The feelings got me down.
Oh, I shouldn't take the time.
We're back on the Mark Gungor Show talking about love, marriage, and relationships. Blocking out people's names here for our next segment of the Flag Page, a great program that we have that helps people to understand themselves and learn how to be able to better communicate who you are and what makes you tick. You can go to the program website, flagpage.com. Flagpage.com. It's a test. It shouldn't take you any more than 10 minutes to do the test. If you're taking a long time to doing the test, you're doing it wrong. But it's a very simple test. Asks you no questions. It's the simplest test on earth. 3 steps. 1, 2, 3. You're done. All right? Don't overanalyze it. And from this, you get an amazing, simple printout that explains to show you why you act the way you act, why you tend to react to things the way you react to them, where you're most likely to succeed in life based on what you love the most about life, and most importantly, the 5 things that are the most important to you, in order of importance to you. It really helps people to talk things through and to understand each other. Because when you understand why people do what they do, it changes everything, even though it doesn't change anything. Mm-hmm. It's really, it's like if someone comes to work and they're just being a real jerk, and you want to just reach out and slap them. No, he'd be such a jerk. And then you find out, his grandma died last night unexpectedly, or whatever. Well, what happens? What changes? Nothing changes. Are you upset now? No. Even when he's being a jerk, it doesn't bother because now you know why they're being a jerk. You know
the why.
When you start understanding why people do what they do, it changes everything. When you don't know why people do what they do, you'll just get angry. And it'll frustrate you to no end.
I guess I better learn some of the whys then for your father. Maybe I'll stop being so frustrated and angry if I just know why.
The whys are pretty clear, I think. All right.
I got it. Okay, we're actually kind of killing 2 birds with one stone because this is money.
You bird killer!
Money and Flag Page. Okay, ready? Here's her email. I think I'm driving my husband insane. And I'm open to suggestions to how I can give him some peace. We've been married 20 plus years and have always struggled with financial issues. In most areas of our lives, we can reach agreement and work well together, except for finances. Mm-hmm. They took the Flag Page. She says, he grew up in a financially secure environment. I did not. Mm-hmm. She said, we have tried the envelope method, cut coupons, worked 2 jobs, along with trying other options. At the end of the month, I always feel like I am failing him because we can never stay on point. There is always something that comes up to throw us off budget. He thinks I don't care, but I do very much. He thinks some of my spending is not necessary, and I don't agree with how some things are budgeted. God has been watching over us because all is being provided every month, even though the budget says it shouldn't. We both agree we need to find balance. He's not sleeping, and my anxiety level over watching him be so stressed is sky high. I want him to be at peace. How do we find a balance that is going to work for both of us in finances? We understand the pages, but I don't believe we understand how to apply them to each other.
Well, let me talk about why you guys kind of act the way you act and react the way you react. I will say this, that if you're to the point where you can't sleep, one of you can't sleep, you need to go get some help. Okay? I mean, it's one thing to, we're over budget and arguing about, but when you're that stressed, he's that stressed, that's an alarm bell, okay? Seriously, people, look, here's how you can tell when there's a fire raging in your house. You smell smoke. When you start smelling smoke, and I'm very keen on that. The minute I smell anything, what is that? Because you ever been in a fire? It's a quite miserable situation. Mm-hmm. And you learn to be sensitive, and you smell something that smells like a little electrical click or something. Boy, you just, that's a warning sign. You shouldn't have to wait until your house is engulfed in flames before you think, I think I'll send Mark Gungor an email. All right? Or let's run out of the house and call the fire department. When somebody is so stressed to the point they can't sleep, you have a fire. That's a major fire. If nothing else, it's major smoke pouring into your lives. Do something about it. That is a problem. I don't know what the problem is because you didn't give us the specifics. Why he would be to the point that he is unable to sleep, I don't know. But that is a major, big, black, billowing puffs of smoke pouring into your lives. Get a clue. Act on it. Having said all that, let me show you on your Flag Pages one of your fundamental problems. Now, one of the things this program does, here comes zoom in more, here. All right. It breaks people into 4 different categories. We call them countries: control country, perfect country, peace country, and fun country. There's a lot of tests that break people into 4 categories like this. They have all different kind of categories. It really is old science that goes back 2,000 years. But these tests tend to put people just in one category and that's it, or maybe 2 and that's it. The thing about our program, we actually show how much of each one is in you by the numbers. The higher the numbers, the more is in you. It has a lot to do with the picture of you, because we all have varying degrees of all these things in us. But of all the combinations, there's different, like peace, fun people are the world's most lovable people. Control, fun people are, great leaders. Control, peace people are great managers. But of all the people, one of the most rare combinations you guys have right here, it's control perfect. We call these people the world's strongest willed people. These are the people who should have their own third world countries and call themselves Fidel, and run the place under their powerful hand because they want everything to get done and done right. Get it right, get it done right, and they tend to be very strong-willed people. All right, that's your husband. Let's look at you. Pretty much the same story. Get it right, get it done. You're in the same category, just changes. Let's get it right, let's get it done. He says, let's get it done, let's get it right, and that in and of itself will show how you will react to things. Primarily, you girls both are very strong-willed people. And here's the other thing. We look at our song, Soft and Hard, which talks about how warm and fuzzy you are and how black and white you are. We look for a difference of 15. He's 84 to the brick wall. He's got a huge brick wall. You're 49 to the brick wall. You're both extremely strong-willed, hard-natured people who know what you want. Now, here's the interesting thing. You can put me back on the camera because I'm sure everybody wants to see my pretty face. All right. Soft people tend to marry soft people. Hard people will marry soft people. Soft people will marry hard people. What's very rare is when a hard person marries another hard person. It does happen on occasion, as in your case. It's just rather rare because they usually kill each other during the dating process. Because they're just going at each other, all right? Now, here's the funny thing about a couple like you. They tend to, I don't know you guys, but couples like this tend to, when they argue, it's rather spectacular. It's da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I mean, there's fireworks. What's interesting is these are the couples who tend to almost never get divorced. These are the people who argue until the day they die. But they almost never get divorced. And do you know why?
Because they don't want to lose.
No, neither one of them wants to lose.
Mm-hmm.
There's couples like this. They're barking at each other. They're both hard-natured people, and they love each other dearly. These are not the people like the person who emailed and said, "Oh, what happens if you argue?" These people, they have no problem arguing. And the reason they can argue and go back and forth is they don't take everything. And back to our shot here, they don't take everything really personal. Real soft people, everything becomes really personal. And then they just, everything's real personal. Well, they have real low of that. So they can argue and debate stuff, and it doesn't become personal. So when people watch them argue, you'll actually probably make your friends uncomfortable. But they don't understand. It's not that big a deal to you. It's just, and they can argue and not take it all personally and stuff like that. So here's the reality. He will say, let's get it done and get it done right. And you'll say, well, let's get it done, but let's get it right first. And then so you'll approach things differently, which means you're going to argue, and you're both hard-natured, which means you'll just be both very black and white about it. So you'll wrestle these things out. And what's the answer? You wrestle things out, and it's fine. It's normal for you guys. You would be anything other than what you do would be unnatural almost for you. The way you deal with everything every month is you bang it out and say, hey, we need to do it this way. We need to do it that way. Okay, I'll do that one. And just be fine about it and take comfort in the fact that you guys have the ability to wrestle things out and not destroy your lives. Having said that, you put it in the context of he's now at the point where he can't sleep. Something is really wrong. You need to go find some help for your situation, or because that's really a major warning sign. And I don't know. I can't answer that. I don't know you guys, and I don't know why he's where he's at.
I would think being a box deep thinker with idealistic in his flag could be a reason he has trouble sleeping. I mean, honestly, because when you're a deep thinker and you think and it's supposed to be this way and it's so idealistic, he probably does stay awake at night considering all of the things of life.
I'm just concerned when you're to the point where you can't sleep. and you're up and you're like, and then you're getting sick. I mean, you will physically get sick, and it's going to be a disaster. I don't know what he's reacting to. He needs to get some help, maybe a financial advisor or something like that. If a financial advisor comes and looks in and says, look, you guys are really fine, then maybe it'll calm him down. Or if a financial advisor comes and says, you guys are headed for a disaster, and then the wife can agree. The nice thing about couples like this is oftentimes having a third party is very helpful because they're both so strong-willed. Now, I wouldn't say the answer for them is don't be strong-willed and be warm and fuzzy, and you're not going to listen to me, some televangelist preacher. Oh, if everyone would just, every time you get upset, you should stop first and hold hands and look into each other's eyes and say, what would Jesus do? Now, I know at some level that's good advice, but you guys aren't wired that way. I don't have a problem with people arguing. As we've already said in the show, so what? I don't understand this aversion to arguing. There's people, because they're peace people. These are the people. If they
say that with such
because peace people, and they're great people, but a lot of pastors are peace people. Like Christian leaders are peace people, and if everybody doesn't approach life just very calm and reserved, and everyone never raises their voice, they think something's wrong with you. And I disagree. If you're a peace person, fine, but a lot of people in the world are not that way, and it's okay if everybody's not warm and fuzzy and peaceful all the time. There are people who yell and they argue.
And
I'm Puerto
Rican.
Rican.
It's okay to be peaceful sometimes too.
No, it's fine too. I'm just saying, people who argue don't look at peace people and say, "What's the matter? Why aren't you arguing?" That doesn't bother them. The reason I say peace people get upset when somebody else argues. They get all upset. Something's wrong. There's nothing wrong. People argue sometimes. You two, I would say, based on your printout, are the kind of people who will love each other dearly and be able to argue and debate things. The good thing is you don't take it terribly personally, and you just wrestle stuff out. And it's fine. I think that's how you'll actually advance your life. If you guys get in a healthy place, you'll be very successful people. You'll be the kind of couples at the end of your life, you will have reached really great success and probably have a lot of money at that point because you get things right and you get them done and you get them done right. Again, my concern is when he's at this place where he can no longer sleep, there's something wrong, and it has nothing to do with your flag page or anything else. Something's really wrong. You guys need to get a third party, get some advice, and you need to fix it. Don't wait for flames to consume your lives. Smell the smoke. My guess is there's so much smoke pouring in your house you can't even see. And they're crawling around on the floor trying to suck in air. Don't just sit there. Do something about it. Get a clue. All right, we'll take a break. We'll be back with more right after this.
Want more of Mark? Visit markgungor.com. There you will find everything that Mark has to offer.
Now, please don't give me all that lip. Stop acting like you are so hip. You know you
Quit acting like you're so hip, Diane.
can.
You ain't hip at all.
I don't have to act.
You're a Nimrod.
I don't have to act, my dear.
Feed
I am
me some bologna. I like that meat that rhymes with Tony.
I ain't too high class to eat that mess.
I want a bologna sandwich, man. We're back on the Mark Gungor Show talking about love, marriage, and relationships. What do you got?
Jimmy's having a whole CD about food.
I know, isn't that great?
Yes, all the songs are food related.
Actually, you need to remind me, Phil. He sent up a bunch of tracks. He wants me to play keyboards on for a new Christmas album he's working on.
Nice.
Timmy, did we get those tracks? I don't know if he has a microphone. All right.
Okay.
Well, then you need to yell at me because it'll be December 25th next year. I still won't have done it.
Oh,
anyway,
okay.
all right. What do you got?
All right, dating emails. Ready?
Dating.
Right. Jumping into dating. She says, I did a very stupid thing and lost my virginity to my present fiance.
Okay.
Now, I've told him no more sex until marriage. However, I feel like I've already lost him, like he doesn't respect me anymore, and now things are really bad. He drags his feet to do things that were second nature to him before, things that made me fall in love in the first place. He stopped doing all the things that made me love him. He even told me to my face that I can't hold him to the promises he made before we started dating, or when we first started dating. I told him no more sex till we get married. I'm ready to face any consequences that follow that decision, like if he wants to end the relationship or cancel the marriage. Since I would rather have a broken relationship than a broken marriage, and I don't know what else to do to get that respect and love back. I even told him I wanted to break up, but he doesn't want to. He actually begged for us to stay together. Do I go ahead and break up with him? If no, what do I do to be loved selflessly again? How do I get the things back to how they were before I messed up?
Well, number one, I presume they're both devout Christians.
I would guess.
Yeah.
I didn't ask that. I was
Here's
assuming.
and this is not unusual. I've never quite understood it. You shouldn't be having sex before you get married. That's very clear. Mm-hmm. If you do, number one, you're not the first people on earth, particularly when you're engaged. I'm not approving of it. I'm just saying it's not that unusual. What I don't understand is people who do this and then they're so full of guilt it actually destroys their marriage. And they can't get together anymore. That I don't understand. Okay, so you did it. You feel guilty about it because, as a Christian, you're not supposed to do it. Well, all right, so pray together, ask God to forgive you, say, okay, no more hoochie coochie. I hope you have a wedding date set. This is one of the reasons you shouldn't wait for 3 years. There's people get engaged, and they're planning to get married 3 years from today. Mm-hmm. So any idea of when they plan to get married? Mm-mm. See, some of these people get engaged, but there's no set date. That's what happens, people, Good grief. You fall in love with each other, you get engaged, you set a date, and certainly a year or less, and the more less, the better. Then you don't have these problems. But again, I don't understand the big, we can't, we're so full. Look, you shouldn't have done it. You did it. Okay. You ask God to forgive you, move on. It's not the end of, and it's not like you're not going to make it right. You're going to marry each other. All right? It's not like you're out fornicating with strangers on the street. All right, this is your fiance. You love each other. That's why you want to get married in the first place, so you can be together physically. So you cheated a little bit. All right, not the end of the world. I appreciate your saying, okay, that was wrong. You acknowledge that. Let's stop doing that. But this should not be derailing your relationship.
But apparently it's him that she thinks because of this.
Well, again, it depends on who. It might be the guilt. I don't know. You just tell. Already, she said, hey, you want to break up? No, I don't want to break up. Then you tell him, hey, you need to treat me ABC. You're just very clear. You're clear on your expectations when you're dating. You're clear on your expectations when you're engaged. And certainly you stay clear after you're married. You just make it very clear. Okay, you don't want to break up? You want to stay together? Yeah, okay. You can't treat me this way. You got to get back to ABC. All right? And if you don't, then I'm going to break it off. And if he wants you, and it sounds like he does, and just tell him to get over it. Good grief. It's forgiveness. We don't live under... There's two versions of this. There's people who use grace as a grease, and they don't take anything seriously. And there's other people who don't understand grace. As soon as they sin, they think it's the end of the world, and God hates them. He's waiting to pound the snot out of them, and they're going to be dealing with... I know Christians who had sex while they were engaged and stuff like that, and they still feel that God can't bless their marriage 20 years later. Because, they're Nimrods.
Nimrods.
They're all Nimrods today. Stop. Of course God can still bless you. It's called forgiveness. Good grief. If there was no forgiveness, then we're all doomed. Except for Phil. He never makes any mistakes. All right? But the rest of us, especially Diane, she's nothing but walking mistakes all the time. But we... She's a Nimrod.
Such a jerk.
I'll be nice.
You're such a jerk.
I'm just teasing you.
He tells you to be nice.
To be nice, and I insult her.
He's so mean. And then he tells me to stop and be nice. You're such a jerk.
It's all for the entertainment of the audience.
Oh, yeah, as long as it's at somebody else's expense.
Just opportunities to practice forgiveness, Diane.
I guess.
Sometimes people think I'm this hateful, because I believe in these strong standards. You're messing up my shot
I'm
here.
sorry. I was trying to get this.
Chapter 1.
Chapter be nice.
That's your book. You wrote it, number 1.
I get it. I don't have a problem with people making mistakes. The stuff I hear, you have no idea what I hear, and it's something shocking and appalling at no level. I don't hate anybody, pastors, anybody. People who make terrible mistakes, I forgive them. Why? Because I fear that perhaps I would do that someday, and I want someone to be kind to me like I've been kind to them. But for the grace of God, we're all capable of doing anything. You ask God to forgive you, and you move on. Actually, there's a really good point on this. We're going to take a break. Hang on to that thought. We'll be back right after this final break.
Attend Mark's Laugh Your Way to a Better Marriage event. Visit laughyourway.com for upcoming dates and locations.
We're back on the Mark Gungor Show talking about love, marriage, and relationships. Just talking about this couple who, they're engaged. They fall in love with each other. They're engaged. Who knows how long they're waiting before they get married when you drag this thing out. Look, it's a normal thing. The reason you get married is so you can be together and touch each other. As we know, you're not supposed to cheat. But some people, it's not the end of the world. If you feel correctly that you did the wrong thing, you stop, you ask God to forgive you, and you just move on. You don't let the guilt of that crush you to death. Goodness gracious. Anyway, I wanted to point this thing out.
Here's your point.
Okay, so it's stunning how many people, because they think they've failed in this area, that everything's off limit, that anything goes now. The number one reason that so many women tell me they have sex, single women, and some of them are in their 50s, for the love of God. I talked to one the other day. She's 20. I mean, and the answer is always the same. Because they say, well, I'm dating somebody. And I inevitably ask the question, sometimes within 30 seconds. Oh, you got a boyfriend? Yeah, that was great. Yeah. Are you having sex with him? And, of course, their eyes freak,
Like,
yeah. I say, you shouldn't be doing that. I know. And you keep asking them, and inevitably, this is their answer. Well, I figure I'm not a virgin anymore. Mm-hmm. And that's the only reason. And they say because they're not a virgin now, so they just screw everybody and anybody with vigor and gusto. For heaven's sakes. Some of them do, Diane. And
some of them do, but...
Well, they do. They just don't think anything of it. And they're Christians, and they know better.
There's a little bit of an overspeak, I think, but that's...
With vigor and gusto, I say.
I think that's more of a male attribute.
I don't know. Some of these girls probably are quite gusto-ish in their inappropriate behavior.
Let's not forget that there has to be a male she's doing it with.
I'm sure they're both in a state of gusto-ishness. Yes. Having said that, these girls, stop. You girls. I don't care if you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 75. You should not be fornicating. And you say, well, I'm not a virgin anymore. That has nothing to do with it. Morality is not based on the status of your woohoo. It's based on the condition of your heart. I don't care if you've had sex with 5,623 different men. Stop! Well, I'm not a virgin anymore. What kind of reality? It's almost like because they've had sex, and that's not there anymore, their whole version of morality is just to protect their virginity. Once that's gone, anything goes, and they've got to stop.
That's true.
They need to get a clue. Keep your pants on. We love you all. Okay, see ya.
Bye-bye, boys.
Have fun storming the castle.